I would have to say to future FRCs that your presence is so powerful in a home. When you walk in and there's no one else out there for a family to go to, and you're walking into a home where the family has just been given shocking news about their child, you can be such a beacon for them.
Not everybody's going to be your best friend, and that's okay. But there has to be some kind of a connection and understanding and ability to connect.
They don't want to just come in there and fix it and move on. They come in, they want to know you, they want to learn about you, they want to be a part of it. They get attached to you as much as you get attached to them. And having that connection, I think, is the best thing. It really helps you grow stronger. It helps the FRC grow stronger because they're learning on top of, you know, what you're learning as well.
We found that some of the routine paperwork was a little confusing. You know, I mean, it just, when things are put in acronyms, the IFSP, the, you know, so on and so forth, it doesn't really mean a whole lot to a parent because it's all foreign. Later, many years after the fact, from the time he was 2 months to now 4 years, I understand that. But in the beginning, it was very confusing, and that was frustrating. Another thing I would have liked to have seen our FRC be a little stronger in was tapping into local agencies that were unknown by me at the time, play groups and parent-to-parent group.
I know my child better than anyone else, and I want to advocate for what's best for my child. And I think that was the one thing that was missing for me, was that I felt like I didn't have the tools to really go on and know what to do if I needed help.
There's a lot that's going on in those early years that is completely and utterly exhausting. And I think probably the most important thing for FRCs to understand is that continuity needs to rest as much on them as on the families. There has to be continued attempts at communication. If you don't get a hold of somebody, don't presume that they're blowing you off. Presume that there was an emergency, because chances are good that that's exactly what's going on.
And I think that that's probably the key, is for parents to stay involved. And I know that there's parents that really, for whatever reason, don't want to be involved. And it could be the lack of understanding, or they're afraid, they're in denial. But I think having that FRC and that service provider coaxing that parent and trying to make them feel comfortable with the environment that the services are going to take place in will help coax that parent out and help them to become involved in whatever level they can be involved in.
Don't just stick to the filing cabinet and the medical file that walks in the room with you. That's not who the child is. That's not who the family is.
Remember that you're one person, and culture and family is broadly defined. And even within families, there can be a culture. And to try to tap into that.
Without you, I don't think a lot of us and our children would be moving on to the levels that they're able and capable of moving on to without your help.
Families don't always qualify for everything that's out there, but when FRCs can know the resources that are there, it's so helpful for families to even just try to get a resource. If you can just even try, it's helpful, because you know that maybe this resource can lead you to this resource, and on and on and on.
I think that it was mentioned early on, gently mentioned, that financially this could be a hardship. That goes without saying. I think that we were up to $8.5 million by the time Christian was 4.5 years old. Even with great insurance, you look at 10% of that. I also immediately, thinking something was wrong with Julian, without even thinking it through, quit my job, because I was going to work and get him to the therapies. And I think that it would have been helpful to look at this in a holistic way and revisit the family, because we were not the unit that we were when our point of entry.
Know that your job is exhausting and it's necessary, and while you're out there on the front lines, make sure that, get a mocha or something.